Welcome back, Firewalkers, to part 2 of how to make gluten-free, dairy-free and refined sugar-free flapjacks. So what I've done is, you might hear some background noise. That is actually the mixture that we prepared in part 1. That's now on the hob and it's bubbling away, and that's what you want. You want it to bubble. If you notice that it's not liquid enough while you're doing it, just add some coconut oil while you actually have it on the hob. Then another tip is stir it in the beginning, but don't stir any more at the end because you want it to bubble, but you don't want it to burn, so stay close. Now, while it's bubbling away, what I've done is I've gotten the oats and about half a bag, so that's about 250 grams. Put them in a bowl, mixing bowl like this, and at the same time I have also prepared this little baking tray. Put some coconut oil in it. Make sure you also do the sides, because otherwise it will stick. And I've put the oven on 200 degrees Celsius, and now it's preheating. So I'll show you the mixture. Right. So you can see what it looks like. There's still some chunks in there. So this is because I didn't smash my bananas good enough in the beginning, but you know what, that's fine. It can be a bit more chunky, but it depends again on what you like and what you don't like. So what I tend to do here is put my spoon in there, just put the whole mixture on there. Now be careful because this is hot, so just be careful with this stuff. Hot and sticky, it's not always a good combination. Well, it's probably never a good combination, is it? Alright, just mix that in. Then turn the hob off. What we're gonna do now is gonna get my hands dirty a little bit, so again make sure you wash your hands before you do this. And be careful because it is hot. So what I do is I start just turning the mixture like this. You basically want to cover all the oats. And sometimes it's easier with your hands, sometimes it's easier with a spoon, but don't use your hands straight away because otherwise you will burn them. And this just smells delicious. I wish you would be able to smell this on the video, but it is just gorgeous. This is actually quite therapeutic, you know. Like the smells, the sounds, the textures, it just gets your mind focused on something else, you know. So it's good to change that focus sometimes. Very relaxing. And for those of you out there who are a little bit more spiritual, when you're preparing food, you put energy in your food. So people who are stressed while they're preparing food, they're putting all that stress in that food. So keep that in mind, because you're probably going to be serving this to your loved ones. So put love in there, you know. Yes, I'm quite a spiritual person. And it makes me happy too. So just put that energy in there. And can you see how the mixture is starting to form? Like, I don't know if you can see, but the steam is still coming from it. So it is still quite hot. But you can see how all of the little oats are slowly getting covered. There's still some at the back that need covering. And it's starting to look a little bit like the flapjack texture that you're familiar with. And it's not just therapeutic. This is actually quite hard work. Because of the stickiness, you can work up the sweat like this. You know, it's a win-win. Alright, so this is starting to look really good. It's nice and sticky, that's what you want. what I'm gonna do now. So again, it's up to you. I've used a spoon now. Sometimes I use my hands, but it was quite hot. So I think it was a little bit safer that I used a spoon. Now I'm going to put this in my baking tray. So, like I said, don't forget to grease it first. And again, use coconut oil for this. And this is quite heavy, so I know it looks a bit clumsy, but you know what, I don't care. And I'm just going to try and pour it all in. There you go. Good. Get all the last bits, or you can choose to eat them. That's part of the fun too when you're cooking, right? Like you get to lick the bowl. I remember when I was little, cooking with my mom, that was my favorite thing, is to actually be able to lick the bowl afterwards. Especially when we used to make like chocolate mousse. Oh, I love that. I really love that. And then what you do is, in your baking tray, just squish it all down. Now for this, I do use my hands because it's just so much easier. So you have this, squish it down with your hands. I know you can't fully see it. I'm trying to see if I can get it on camera, but you can see it a little bit. And this is like you're massaging the flapjack. Right. So I use the top of my hand, like this. And what you want to do is you want to make sure that there's no gaps and everything is nicely compressed. So just keep pressing it and you'll see the gaps disappearing. You can do like this a little bit. And what you also want to make sure of is that it is as even as possible, especially on the sides, because otherwise these do tend to burn. So the more even you can make this, the better it is. There. Brilliant. Good. Now this is ready to go. Just show you what it looks like. Right. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put it in the oven. So the oven is 200 degrees. And what you need to do is it needs to go in there for between 15 and 20 minutes. But from 15 minutes, I start checking. And you're looking for like a golden brown color. And of course, from the moment that you see it starting to get a little bit black, well, take it out. It's probably too late. But this is trial and error, right? So don't beat yourself up if it doesn't work in the beginning. I mean, my first try was pretty good. But the more I do it, the better I get at it. And that's everything in life, right? So I hope you enjoyed this. I'll show you one last video with the end result and how to then cool it down. So after it goes in the oven, you have to cool it down. It has to be completely cool because otherwise it will just crumble. So let it cool down for at least 3 hours and then you're able to cut it up. But I'll show you that in the next video. See you in a bit. Bye.